Hello guys and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me Vulcan. Today I have for you game 1 in a best of 3 between AmberT and Dremora in round 2 of Chickendew's European tournament. So today we're going to be seeing Colleville and on the allied side today we have the Guards Armoured, and on the Axis side we have the Panzer under command of Dremora. So this is a matchup that can go either way, but I feel like the Guards Armoured definitely have the advantage in the early game that could snowball pretty hard into Phase B. In Phase C, however, Dremora could come back with his Panzer with 150 points per minute, which is definitely something that's always difficult to deal with against the Panzer, and we've seen players surrender in the past knowing that they're getting to the late game with a Panzer player as their opponent, and we've also seen Panzer players be crushed early on. But then again, we have seen Panzer players also do well early on. And Gonzo was a good advantage of that. He used the Storch in combination with the 258 and the Puma to make an aggressive push. So we'll have to see if Dremora favours the same units or tries out different units and maybe goes for a more defensive playstyle in the early and mid game, waiting for those points to come in the late phase where he can bring in the bigger and better tanks that will definitely shut down a lot of what the Guards Armoured has to offer. But on the side of AmberT, he can bring in Churchill's or Cromwell 7s, sorry, and also the Cromwell 6 early on. And both of those are really good for dealing with the AP power that Dremora can put out early on. So I think the maximum AP power that Dremora can deploy is like 10 in Phase A. That goes for the Pumas and I think the Pack 38s. So AmberT can play around that quite nicely if he feels like it. Either way, let's have a look at some of the units that are going down. So on the side of Dremora, we have the Panzergrenz, we have the Pack 38, there's a 250-10 with the Panzerschreck, and also the Speertroop. I quite like the use of the Panzerschrecks. They could definitely be very useful for picking off annoying armoured units, but they have to be placed properly, otherwise they will be a bit useless. Further down we have a 251 with the Panzergrenz. There's 2 more Panzergrenz down the bottom here with the Kubel with the command, a Kubel MG with Aufklärer, and then we have the Pack 38 down there as well. On the side of AmberT, we have on the top side Stuart 6, M5 half track with command. We've got some rifles in there and then some command further, or some recon, sorry. More rifles for the mid with an AT gun there. Even more motorized rifles here moving towards the center of the map. And we've got some motorized rifles heading down to the bottom side with a motorized rifle leader in the half track. More rifles there, Stuart 6 and another AT gun. So let's have a look at where all of these troops are going. Looks like AmberT's putting quite a lot of presence into the top and bottom side, not too much to the center. As for Dremora, he's spreading out a little bit more evenly. However, he does have many more forces on the bottom side than he does on this top side. And it's going to be interesting to see whether or not AmberT can find the holes in Dremora's defences early on, because that's what he needs to do to gain an advantage before the Panzer reach Phase C. And that's basically what you're going for against the Panzer. You're playing against the clock often, and that clock is the 20-minute mark when you jump into Phase C. If you haven't made a significant dent into the Panzer by Phase C, you're often in trouble. Either way, here come the units. Motorized rifles, motorized rifle leader. They're going to be supported by the Stuart as they push towards this Aufklärer. There's no recon down here supporting this push, so these Aufklärer will see that coming and they will not be spotted themselves unless one of these infantry squads walks right on top of it. Panzergrenz are getting into position, so are these half tracks, but the Stuart 6 here could definitely do a number on all of these half tracks pretty easily. So this is interesting at the moment because Dremora is almost solely reliant on this Pack 38 to kill this Stuart 6, otherwise he's going to have a real hard time trying to deal with it, as the Panzer Grenadiers will keep revealing themselves against the rifles and the Stuart 6 will open up with its 330 cals and just pin those down very quickly indeed. So yeah, it's all about the first shot from this Pack 38. If it can hit the mark, then that'll be great. If it doesn't, then Dremora is in trouble, because it's very likely to be killed if it does miss its first shot. Stuart 6 is going to be moving down as a reinforcing tank as well on the top side. Half track and jeep push with the rifles there leading the charge in front of the Stuart 6. I'm pretty sure they're just probing maybe for an AT gun. If there's not one there, then the Stuart 6 can move forwards quite handily and help out. So here we have seen the Stuart 6 and M5 half track getting some decent shots onto the Pak-38. That gets forced to fall back. Looks like the Stuart 6 did come under fire due to its morale there being affected. But yeah, Pak-38 was not successful. So Panzergrenz are taking more damage. Dremora has put them on to return fire here, these Panzergrenz, which is probably a good idea just so they don't reveal themselves to the fire support of AmberT. But as long as these rifles continue running towards the tree line, eventually they're going to find these infantry squads and they're going to be able to get hit by the machine guns of the Stuart 6s here. Alpha goes down very quickly. Willie's MG opening up onto the Panzergrenz. M5 half-track going to be trying to move around the top side. That's going to be intercepted by the 250-10. 250-10 at close range should have an easy kill there. Yes, indeed, half-track goes down. Now that 250-10 at close range could definitely do some damage to a Stuart 6, but it's much more likely that the Stuart 6 will just one-shot a 250-10 at close range. These Panzergrenadiers are definitely not having a good time, revealed by the rifles here, after the Panzergrenz opened up with their MG42s. AmberT definitely taking advantage of this push on the bottom side though, but Dremora has actually brought up one of his Pumas. Didn't choose to bring that in at the start, but is now having that there ready to take on both these Stuart 6s. Now both of these Stuart 6s could pop out at the same time and just fire very quickly at this Puma over and over and over again. That will be a massive advantage for AmberT, although it looks like AmberT is actually going to back off. I'm guessing he doesn't want that Puma to hit and get a penetrating shot, otherwise he could lose both those Stuarts very quickly in succession. But either way, rifles and motorized rifles are both continuing to move on. M5 half-track does have line of sight through these trees onto the Panzergrenführer and that Panzergrenz squad, which is interesting. This Stuart 6 looking for the 250-10 kill on the top side though. Recce are trying to move forwards, and the 251 there is going to be strafing them down in the open, or just shooting them down in the open. Not really strafing, it's not a plane. Stuart 6 here. Yeah, this actual 250-10 though could reveal that there's a Panzerstreck nearby, and AmberT will have to be careful about that, and it looks like he is at the moment. Rifle squad does go down under fire from the half-track there, but we do see a Panzerwerfer come in, and that's just landed a nice strike on this bottom side onto all of these rifles and the motorized rifle leader. Dremora has tried to push around with his Puma to try and find a shot onto one of these Stuarts, but so far it's not really worked out. He doesn't have to be too scared of these rifles. He does have a closed top on that Puma, so he should be able to just run down those rifles and maybe get a kill onto this Stuart 6. But the Stuart 6 here has fully recovered from that strike already, so maybe he just didn't want to risk the engagement. But the 3-star Puma is pretty damn accurate, and at that range should definitely score a hit, at least, if not a kill. I'm not entirely convinced Dremora had the right idea there. I would have liked to have seen that Puma continue into the face of those rifles, pin them down, make them surrender, and then have this Panzergrenführer stick nearby to give that 3-star veterancy to the Puma as it engages the Stuart 6. That would have been the nice play to make there. But either way, +1 now for AmberT. He is slowly but surely counting up the points, being rather, I don't know, he's not very aggressive on this top side. He's kind of sitting back a little bit with this Stuart 6, which is fair enough. Like I said, this 250-10 reveals that there's a Panzerstreck nearby. If he knows the decks very well, then he'll know that, and therefore doesn't probably want to get the Stuart 6 very close. But there is a Cromwell 7 now coming up to the top side as well, and that's probably one of my favourite tanks in the game for Phase A. It's just really, really strong against enemy AT guns at 1,000 meter range. And you can see at the bottom side, Pak-38 is going to be revealing itself. Mentioned this before, if it doesn't get a one-shot kill, it literally gets itself killed. So, hits the Stuart, but doesn't find the kill and dies because of it. Now the rifle is going to be coming back into that tree line. They are going to be revealing these Panzer Grenadiers once again. They're going to get hit very hard. We're going to have to see if this Panzerwerfer can provide opportunities for both this 2-3-4-1 and the 2-3-4-2 Puma at some point. 250-10 is arriving on the bottom side with the Panzerschreck. I actually really like that move. That will allow him to possibly get the kills onto these Stuarts, but he is going to need to back himself up with more infantry since one of these Panzergrenadiers is very low, and this one's about to get spotted shortly in a very bad position where it can't really fall back into cover very easily. So Stuart just quickly reversing away from that, but keeping its machine guns on target. It's going to get pinned down. Gets absolutely hammered. Is most likely going to die if it tries to fall back. On the top side, we do see some motorised rifles arriving to help the Stuart 6 and the Cromwell 7 advance. The only thing that Dremora really has to deal with this Cromwell 7 on the top side is either a Panzerschreck or maybe another Puma if he has one on the deck. But I mean, so far this Cromwell 7 could probably make a lot of ground here if AmberT plays it right. Rifles have managed to break through the tree lines, but they have lost their fire support for the time being. And this could be a chance for Dremora to sort of clean up these rifles a little bit and remove the pressure that AmberT has. But with the 6-pounder coming into the tree line there, that's got an easy shot onto the Puma, does get the transmission damage, and as that is almost pinned down and forced back entirely, well, I was going to say the Stuart 6 is going to come around for a shot, but the 6-pounder does the job. Panzerwerfer just a little bit too late there, does not want to get shot itself, is going to get out of the way. Does manage to kill off the command, which was a rather nice pick-off for sure, as that does leave the motorised rifles and rifles pretty vulnerable to surrender, but Stuart 6 has found the 2-3-4-1 and that's going to go down. But it did manage to kill one of the half-tracks, so a little bit of pressure taken off. But either way, still a lot of ground being made here from AmberT. And as he continues to attack these half-tracks, will make himself a lot of ground. Stuart 6 here is not pinned down. He's going to be really reliant on this Panzer Grenadier, possibly even the Panzerschreck that was brought in. But it looks like the Panzerschreck squad did get itself killed, so that's not actually a problem anymore. Ooh, Panzer Grenadiers though did manage to get the 1,000 or 150 meter range onto the Stuart, and that Stuart that was fully recovered just gets one popped, and that is a bit of a mistake there from AmberT. I feel like if he kept that Stuart 6 alive, he could have definitely broken through here very hard. But he is going to be going for the push on the top side now. In the centre here, Recce are taking a lot of damage. Motorised rifles have been pinned down, but there's now a Cromwell 6 and then 5 half-track here pinning down that Panzergren squad. Once the motorised rifles recover, they'll likely cause them to surrender if Dremora doesn't pull them back. Or the Cromwell 6 here did get bailed out by the Panzerschreck. Really, really nice job there by Dremora. That's exactly what you want to see out of your Panzerschreck squad in Phase A versus the Guards Armoured. Taking out that Cromwell 7 is vitally important. And that last shot, can it find the kill? Yes, it can. So no chance of a repair for that Cromwell 7. Very nice indeed out of Dremora. That's exactly what he wanted to see. So, rifles are slowly recovering on this bottom side, but mortar fire coming in once again. And I feel like Dremora has actually fared pretty well in Phase A so far. Taking out that Stuart 6 on the bottom side basically faltered the push of AmberT entirely. On the top side, taking out that Cromwell 7 maybe took off quite a lot of pressure up there. But I feel like he's slowly but surely being overwhelmed, especially now moving into Phase B. The amount of infantry availability that AmberT is going to put out at this point is going to be very hard for Dremora to deal with only 95 points per minute. Tiger E is rolling up the main road. That's going to be going for the engagement with the Cromwell 6 here. Is that going to be a one-shot, one kill? Gets the driver wounded, so the second shot should probably hit and get the kill. On the top side, the 250-10 goes down to the Stuart 6. And the Cromwell 6 goes down in the middle. So, yeah, Dremora's not lost out too badly moving into Phase B so far. Just needs to recover a bit of ground, keep it at a +1 rather than a +2 for AmberT, and he should be good moving towards Phase C. So, interesting play so far for sure. Panzer Grenadiers still doing a decent job against the motorised rifles. Stuart 6 not in the right position since the Tiger E is threatening. M5 half-track, once that gets popped by the Tiger as well, I would like to see that actually attack. Can he not see that? That's really odd. Okay. Yeah, he can't see it. I was wondering why the Tiger wasn't firing, because it had clear line of sight. And normally they can see them at that range. But taking out that half-track there is really nice. It's going to allow the Panzergrens to reconnect the territory. Take it back to only a +1 for AmberT. and this is where Dremora has a chance to maybe break back into this game. 250-10, or 257, sorry, going to be trying to mortar the 6-pounder that helped take out the Puma previously. But there does need to be some reinforcing infantry on this bottom side sometime soon, otherwise he's going to get overwhelmed by enemy infantry pretty damn quickly, and there's not too much there to stop that. No tanks or anything that can really take advantage of unsupported rifles and motorized rifles here. Those motorized rifles are managing to get the Piat shot onto the 250-10, and they are going to get the kill. I don't think they actually used the Piat in the end, they just used their grenades to find that kill, and they do one-shot the Panzergren there as well, getting that one health squad killed almost immediately. Stuart 6 on the top side is going to be engaging this half-track. Panzergrens there are pinned down, might be able to get a cheeky kill onto that Stuart 6. That would be a very nice play there from Dremora. Yes, at the moment the main issue is infantry availability, and that's something that will continue throughout Phase B for Dremora at this point, because AmberT just has so much more. Another Stuart 6 coming in. There's also a Firefly moving to the centre of the map. That's looking to engage the Tiger most likely. Panzerschreck squad did get, or Panzer Grenadier squad did get killed off here, but not before it found a Panzerfaust shot towards the Stuart 6, and that's why it's pinning down, or being pinned down and forced back. The Jeep there goes down, and this Tiger almost took out the 6-pounder, but AmberT managed to get that out of there. 6-pounder is going to be taking out the half-track in the mid, and more Panzergrens have arrived here, but they're not supported by command, so this is a very easy chance for a double surrender out of Dremora for AmberT. Panzerwerfer is coming down onto the M5 half-track and those rifles. That's a relatively good strike. Does manage to stop the pressure from those half-tracks, but infantry is still making progress down on this bottom side. And AmberT's edging his way towards that 58%, which he's now picked up for the +2 once again. So we're moving up to like 750 point mark now for AmberT before Dremora is able to respond. It's really all about this Tiger, and if AmberT can kill that Tiger, then that could spell doom for Dremora throughout the rest of this game, because he's got to keep up some sort of defense here as the Panzer. Otherwise, things are just going to start snowballing for AmberT. He's going to get in multiple Fireflies, and even Panthers aren't going to be able to deal with that. So another half-track arriving on the bottom here. He needs to unload those Panzergrens. Nice job there by Dremora. Takes out that half-track. Good stuff. Now he can use the half-track to start pinning some of these motorized rifles and rifles, whilst his Panzergrens also open up onto them. And like I mentioned before, this is all like unsupported infantry that's making this push. And previously he didn't have anything to deal with that, but now he has this half-track that can help pin down squads. But those motorized rifles have found a shot onto the 257. This is really, really risky here from Dremora. His units are going to get hit again by another Piat shot. The Panzerwerfer is going to go down. It gets internal fragmented. It's not too bad since it's probably used up all its ammunition anyway. But keeping it alive is very important. Third Piat actually misses, but is forcing them to fall back. Stuart actually dies on the bottom side here to the Tiger E. Nice kill there. Befell Panther is on the way. So I think it's very important for Dremora to bring in these expensive tanks in Phase B, because there's not really any other ways that he can hold on very well against these Fireflies. This half-track indeed did deal with both a rifle and motorized rifle squad. Managed to surrender both of those. There's now 2 squads left. They did manage to capture the Opel Blitz munition though, as both the Panzerwerfer and 257 were falling back. That M5 half-track though going to find the machine gun kill onto the half-track, and well, I feel like losing that half-track was a bit of a mistake from Dremora, because now his Panzergrens are in the same position that AmberT's infantry were, unsupported, going to get pinned down, going to get surrendered, and that's going to leave a massive hole on this bottom side. He really needs to get in like some sort of tank to this bottom side to just help clean things up down here. Right, Panzergrens are making some ground into this tree line, but I think as soon as they get in there, both those Fireflies are going to end up opening up onto them. On the top side, Befell Panther is trying to cut off that engagement, but if Dremora is aware of this Stuart 6 being the only tank up here, he could definitely just attack, move towards this tree line maybe, and wipe that out, and then clean up the infantry with his own half-tracks and infantry. Now 257's doing a great job here of pinning down enemy infantry, allowing his Panzergrenz to continue to maneuver. But it looks like that mortar fire did manage to catch his own Panzergrenz and pin them down. This Panzerwerfer going to be falling back even more. Opel Blitz munition has been recovered by AmberT. That did not get killed off by Dremora. So now the Tiger is going to be engaging the motorized rifles, and look at this from AmberT. Really, really cheeky, setting up a triple Firefly setup for this Tiger E and the Panther. Now I often say that it requires 2 Firefly 5Cs to take on 1 Befell Panther. And we'll have to see if that comes into effect. It looks like all these Fireflies are going to open up onto the Tiger first, and there is nothing that Tiger can really do about that other than fall back. The range is there though for the Fireflies. It's only a matter of time until one of those scores a penetrating hit. There we go, Tiger goes down. 12 armor, 16 AP, about a 50% chance of penetration. So every shot there, 1 in 2 chance of scoring the kill. These Panzergrenz are doing actually pretty well in this tree line. They did manage to take out the infantry there, and the 6-pounder. Bedford Supply is going to be retreating, but that opens up quite a nice salient for Dremora, but he's losing ground elsewhere. He really needs to clean up these forces on this top side. Now he's revealed the infantry in this tree line, the Panther will be able to help him clear those up, but I would like to see the Panther get closer and start to use its MG34s. That's pretty important. On this bottom side, rifles, there's 1 squad of rifles here on its own. Dremora probably can't see those, otherwise I would have expected him to sort of run towards them and try and find the surrender there. But that's not what he's doing, and we're getting ever closer to phase C. So AmberT, he is on 1,400 points, and I think we're still in a position where we could see Dremora make a comeback in the phase C. 150 points per minute is massive, and the quality of the tanks that the Panzerlehr can pull out is also very scary for these Fireflies. But it's all just a matter of like these Fireflies not being able to team your singular tanks. So I'd like to see the next Panther come in at the same place as the previous Panther, because if it comes in anywhere else, then this Panther is going to be on its own and it's going to get triple teamed by the Fireflies again. And now that Dremora is aware of this threat in the centre of the map, he needs to make sure that he has the firepower to fight back. On the bottom side, the rifles making more ground. These Panzergrenz have been found, and if they get pinned down and taken out, it's going to be more ground lost there for Dremora, and he doesn't really want this to go to a +3 just yet, otherwise things could get pretty ugly moving forwards for his score. It's going to get to the point where AmberT reaches the 2,000 score mark, and then there's not really much coming back from that. Typhoon AT coming in with the rockets onto the Befell Panther. That's a 2-star Typhoon AT, so very accurate. And if you guys didn't know or weren't aware, the difference between a Typhoon with rockets and a Typhoon AT with rockets is the Typhoon AT has better accuracy, so it hits more, and that's why it gives it the penetration, or just the damage that it needs to break through the Panther. So 257, that's just going to be mortaring towards these Panzergrenführer. The Panzergrenführer are going to get taken, well, surrendered by the rifles. A couple half-tracks moving up here with the rifles there. I don't know really what Dremora can do. We have just moved into phase C, so we'll have access to these 2-star pioneers. They can definitely hold back the infantry in urban environments and also in the trees. But he really needs to find a way to take care of these Stuarts, because currently they're like the primary reason that Dremora can't push back on this side. Like, even bringing in like a Panther here would be risky, because the Stuarts at close range can still do a lot of damage. The Stuart 6s are really nice because they have 8 AP compared to other Stuarts which generally have 7 AP. 251-21, going to be charging down the motorized rifle leader there. These motorized rifles going to be using their grenades on the 251-21, and that is a big mistake there from Dremora, allowing that to happen. That is a shame, because I feel like that 251-21 could have made a lot of ground on the top side, like this one is doing so in the bottom side. The 251-21 will easily take care of an implied half track, I would presume. It does have 18 HE at its disposal. Yep, half track goes down very nicely. Stuart 6 is coming down to clean that up though. Panzerwerfer does come in, gets a massive pin onto loads of this infantry from AmberT. There's not really any command nearby, so Dremora is going to be going for those surrenders there. On this top side, however, we do see that the Fireflies have managed to successfully engage and kill off the Panther. I'm not entirely sure where that was, but either way, with that Panther going down and no more Panthers on the field, Dremora is going to surrender. And yeah, I feel like, honestly, it was getting to that point where AmberT had too many points for him to come back in the time that he had left. Lost too much ground in Phase B, and that really hurt his chances moving into the late game. So 22 minutes and 38 seconds it took for AmberT to dispatch Dremora, but the kill death not too far apart, 1,595 kills to 1,150 losses. The build-up of those Fireflies was very smart from AmberT. He knew what he was going to be up against in Phase B and Phase C, and he knew that taking out the Tiger and the Befell Panther in Phase B would definitely be a setback, a massive setback for Dremora and his pressure on the entire map. So really good play there from AmberT. There was a few mistakes here and there from both players, but in general, good work all round. Stuart 6 has just played out very nicely throughout this game. Worked very well with the territory, and yeah, it was good to see. Good to see those in action. I'm more of a Cromwell fan myself, but yeah, the Stuart 6s definitely can do a decent job with the Guards Armoured. In terms of losses, we do see the 250-10 did pick up a couple of half tracks, which is what they're really good for taking care of. 251 in the centre, took out a couple of Willys MGs. Panzerwerfer didn't do too much work, and neither did the Puma. That's quite a big problem at the start. But the Tiger E came in and saved the day a little bit, and also that Panzerschreck kill onto the Cromwell 7 was very important. We did see the Befell Panther take out one Stuart 6, but other than that, losing it to these Fireflies is not very nice. Actually, it was a 17 pounder in the end on the top side that took out the Befell Panther. Fair enough. Must have missed that entirely. Either way, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and join me in the next video where we'll be looking at Game 2. And we'll have a look and see if Dremora can bring it back to 1-1 in this series. But that's all. Thanks for watching. Yeah, see you next time. Goodbye.